They dragged him across the obsidian ground, his feet torn and bloody, his arms limp, but his eyes never blinking once as he stared up at the alien guards, who thought they had won, who thought they had broken the last human in the quadrant, but they did not understand him, not really. They called him a prisoner, but he had never been truly captured. They called him prey, but he had never been hunted and lost. They did not see the way he measured the walls, the gates, the breadth of every beast lurking in the pit below, because this was no ordinary arena, this was a death sentence. Carved from fire and bone dragons, real dragons with molten scales and teeth like collapsing stars, waited below in nests of smoke. The aliens watched from the edges of the arena towers, looming high above the pit, whispering to each other in their hissing tongue, believing the spectacle would last seconds, believing the human would scream, would run, would beg, but he did none of those things. Instead he stood at the edge of the pit, bare feet on scorched stone, and he smiled, not a smile of madness, not a smile of fear, but a slow, hungry curl of lips that knew exactly what came next. They pushed him in, expecting terror, expecting silence followed by flesh-rending screams, but what followed instead was a low guttural laugh and the sound of bones cracking, but not his own. The first dragon was the size of a dropship, its wings torn and healed by centuries of battle, its breath molten and wild. It opened its jaws and came for him, thinking he would burn, thinking he would shatter, but he did not move. He raised his hand, caught the dragon's throat, and slammed it into the wall with the sound of a mountain collapsing. The aliens leaned in, eyes wide, their translation implants glitching as they muttered confusion, because humans were not supposed to be able to do that. He turned his head slowly, bones cracking from the force of his movement, and looked up at them as if daring them to send more. The next dragon came from behind, wings slicing through the air faster than light, and still he did not flinch. It tried to bite through his spine, but his body bent and moved and twisted like something made of shadow and flame. He caught its jaw, broke it, and with the same motion hurled the beast into the air, where it crashed into the arena walls, shaking towers and toppling statues. The aliens did not cheer now. They whispered, they feared. They began to search old archives, to pull old warnings from long-dead worlds about what humans used to be, what humans became when they were truly hungry, truly cornered, truly unleashed. And one of them found an old report from a lost colony, stating that humans do not evolve to adapt, they evolve to dominate, and when they are pushed afar, something else takes the controls, something old, something that even monsters cannot kill. The third dragon was their biggest, their prize, their god. It was called the Void Maw, because it swallowed everything and left behind silence. It had never been wounded, it had never tasted fear. Until it met him, it lunged from the smoke, and its jaws closed around the human, but for a moment, only a moment, because then its mouth stopped moving, then it trembled, then it screamed, and it was the scream of a creature that had never known pain until now. He was inside it, tearing through its throat like thunder made flesh. The sound echoed through the pit, and the alien high commander dropped its chalice claws, shaking as it realized too late what it had unleashed. The human emerged from the dragon covered in burning ichor, his eyes not human now, not glowing either, just endless black pits where light went to die. And he spoke for the first time in a voice that was too many voices at once. You think dragons are predators, you think monsters are gods. I eat monsters for breakfast. The towers shuddered, the walls cracked, the dragons fled, all of them roaring and shrieking as they clawed for exits, as if something worse than death now stalked the pit. And above, in the control spires, alarms blared as systems failed, lights exploded, and the command network tried to activate failsafes, but he moved faster than thought, faster than the weapons, faster than fear itself. He climbed from the pit, not with struggle, not with effort, but as if the air bent to his will, as if gravity itself no longer applied. The aliens fired sonic rifles, plasma bolts, cryospears. Nothing touched him at all, dissolved in the air around him like it was afraid, like the very idea of hurting him was punished by the laws of the universe. He walked through walls made of alien steel and left handprints melted into the metal. He passed through security like breath through glass, and reached the central spire, where the high commanders waited, shaking behind energy shields and last resorts. But he walked through those too, and stood before them, skin-burned red eyes, darker than anything they could name. And when he spoke again, the walls cracked, and the floor split, and every creature that heard him dropped to its knees. I was sent here to die, but I do not die, I feed. And now I am full, but not finished, so run, tell your empires, tell your gods, tell your monsters, the humans are not prey, we are not weak, we are not gone, we are coming, and we remember everything. And when he was done, there was nothing left of the command spire, only ash, only a crater, only silence, and above in the stars, ships turned and fled, and across the galaxy warnings echoed in every tongue. And every system, never lock a human in with monsters unless you are ready to bury your world, because sometimes the human is the worst monster of all. The galaxy did not forget. It could not forget the day the dragons fled, the day the human rose from the pit dripping in blood, and silenced the day an entire command citadel fell to one man, without weapons, without armor. Without fear the empires whispered across the stars. They called him the eater of monsters, the flame killer, the end of teeth and claw. And still none of them truly understood, because they thought it was about strength, they thought it was about vengeance. But it was about hunger, something deeper than blood, older than bone, the kind of hunger that does not stop once it is fed, the kind that grows stronger with each kill, each scream, each terror etched into the black of space. And he did not stop, he did not rest, he stepped into a stolen vessel, its controls melting under his touch, yet obeying his will, and he flew not away, but forward deeper into sectors no one charted places even the dragons feared to land, and there he found more of them, creatures that thought themselves immortal gods, beings that once devoured suns and drank oceans, and he faced them all without pause, without pity. And every time he walked away alone, every time stronger, the stars began to change in his wake, constellations bent, reshaped as if the galaxy itself moved to tell his story, and the story was not a warning, it was a promise, and the hunger kept growing. He went where the ancient weapons were buried beneath cursed moons and shattered time, where even machines would not go, and he broke their vaults open, and he fed on their broken code and dead light, and added their fury to his own. He became myth wrapped in skin fire in the shape of a man, the final predator, the godless god who would not kneel, and in every system those who once ruled began to fall before they even knew they had been hunted. Fleets, when silent colonies found empty, their defenders crumbled into powder, and in every place the only sign left behind was a single scorched mark on the ground, a spiral of teeth and flame that no scanner could decode and no memory could erase. The Galactic Council, once proud, once mighty, called an emergency convergence. The last of the empires gathered and begged for unity, begged for a solution, begged for mercy. They summoned their greatest minds, their oldest machines, their forgotten prophets. And still they could not speak his name without shivering, for they knew that names had power, and this name belonged to something that had already tasted all of theirs and found them lacking. They tried to make weapons of hope, weapons of purity, weapons drawn from light itself, but they did not understand that light was just another thing that bent before him. He came not with armies, not with fleets, but as a shadow streaking through the void, a whisper at the edge of perception. And when he arrived on their final world, the sky split not from fire, but from silence, the kind of silence that made your heartbeat feel like betrayal. And he walked through their cities untouched, as if walls did not exist, as if screams were songs. And when he reached the final tower, he looked at them, and they wept, and he said only this: you threw me to monsters thinking I would be eaten, but I became the hunger that devours monsters. I became the end. You carved your own death into the stars, and now I will erase the hand that held the blade. And then he raised his hand, and the world unraveled, not exploded, not burned, but unraveled like a thread pulled from the heart of creation, and nothing remained, not even ash, not even echoes. And far away on a distant world a child looked up at the night sky and saw a star vanish, and did not know why, and did not know that somewhere out there something moved, something old, something full, something final. And it was still hungry.